I want to welcome you to our continued series here on overcoming anxiety. Today we're going to be on lesson 8, regulating our emotions. Regulating our emotions. We're working with what I call mind skills. And today we're going to talk about working with the body. Last time we talked about the fact that there's two ways that we can regulate our emotions. One is by thinking. The second is by using our body to relax us. Actually, there's a third way that we use a lot, and we'll talk about that in several weeks, and that is emotionally relearning. Let's relearn what's triggering us in the first place so we don't have to be anxious at all. But today we're going to talk about using the body, because the body will help us relax. The parasympathetic nervous system will calm us down. It's like putting the brakes on. Last time we talked about reactive and receptive, and today we want to get into that receptive mode to be able to calm down. You see, if the body doesn't believe that you should not be anxious, the body's going to win every time. You can say all you want, oh, I'm at peace, but if your body's all tense and it's worried and frustrated, it's going to win. It's going to win. And so we need to realize that many things that trigger us, that cause us to be anxious, are what we call felt beliefs. They're in the body. They're a sensation, and they get us to move. And we're never going to get out of it if we don't calm down, because that amygdala part of the brain is taking over, and the prefrontal cortex is not doing its job. And we have to be able to relax enough, long enough, that we can bring our rational thinking online, and together work in getting us in a more relaxed, non-anxious state. So let's try this, okay? And we've done it before, but let's try it again, okay? Let's slump your shoulders over, okay? Slump your shoulders over, just kind of feel like slumped over. And now, get that face looking like your shoulders, and try to think of a happy thought. Can you imagine having a happy thought and walking around like this? It's not going to win, right? Now, put your shoulders back, kind of get your face in a more, positive look, what it feels like, chest, out, shoulders back. And now think of a sad thought. Think of a sad thought from here. Try to do that. It doesn't work, does it? It doesn't work. That posture has a lot to do with our emotional state. And so we want to work with our posture. So often we think of a positive affirmation in our head, and we may even say it aloud, but our body isn't believing it. And so posture can really help. You need to think, I just don't need to think it, I need to feel it. I need to have the body accept it, right? So let's try a couple, okay? What would it look like for you to go from sadness to joy? What would that body posture be for you to go from sadness to joy? Because what you want to do is sense the difference. This is part of that emotional recognition. Because if we can tell the difference, then we'll know when we're starting to feel sad. Our body will take the place. So sadness is kind of that, You're just kind of sad. Your face, you can feel it in your face, in your shoulders, your body, sad. But then comes joy. And here again, you can feel the posture. You can feel it in the face. You can see it in the smile. All the cranial nerves are working, and you're more expressive. So, try that, going from just what it would feel like to be sad, and then all of a sudden to have joy, to return to joy, and feel that difference. Practice that to where you can start to learn what that feels like. The other one is anger. Now, anger, it could be, you're tight up in here, and the face is kind of drawn, like your shoulders are tense, your legs perhaps, your legs are in more of a stance, and so anger, but go from anger to what? Peace. Go from anger to acceptance. Okay, anger to acceptance. And so you're angry, but then all of a sudden, it's okay. And you know, this sometimes is that posture of acceptance. You know, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. I don't have to be so angry about this. I'm going to, you know, go from anger. I'm going to shift into peace. Into peace would be a good one. Peace. But what's that anger feel like? You know, focus on that and get that in there where you know. So when you're walking around like this, you say to yourself, okay, what's going on? I must be angry. What's going on? And anxiousness, right? You know, anxiousness, anxiety. What's that feel like? Well, it can be this internal butterflies and body posture. So much could be like, I'm ready to get out of here. You're kind of tense, you know, and feeling wiggly a little bit maybe, and you're anxious. You know, you kind of, maybe, you know, you want to run. And you know, what's that feel like for you when you're anxious? And how do you go from that to peace? To peace. And what's that shift feel like? What's that shift feel like? And the one we're working on most here is anxiety, of course. And then another form of that would be fear. What's fear feel like, you know? This kind of bracing yourself maybe, or kind of, you know, what's fear feel like? Turning away. Whatever it is for you, what's that fear? Going inward. And then what's it mean to be courage? Right? One of the ones they have the children do, right? The Superman pose. Well, I don't know they have to do that, but it's more open, right? Courage, more taking your stance, you know, more of a strong stand, you know, courage, you know. What's that feel like? So what's the fear feel like? And what, you know, you might want to start with the opposite, courage and fear, but you want to recognize the shift, because then you can start becoming aware of what the body postures feel like. And what you want to train yourself is that just by doing the posture, you know, when you switch from fear to courage, you can actually sense it, can't you? When you move from, you know, anxiety to peace, you can sense it. And so you have this ability then to use posture to change the attitude, to change the emotion. And so it's important. So remember posture. Remember posture. Just like we tried when we first did it, you know, try to feel a happy thought. Well, if you're like this and you want to think happy, you better get the posture involved, okay? So that's one of the ways we can do it. Second is getting grounded. Getting grounded. Now, if you don't have the notes, I encourage you to get them, because we're getting a lot of you are watching us online, and I'm so glad you're joining us. Please feel free to write me, ron@empowerministry.org, and I'll be happy to send you the notes. But those of you who have it, you can follow along. Let's look at getting grounded. This is another one. It's similar to posture because it's a body state. But a lot of times when we're in that hypervigilant state, when we're dissociating, we want to get out of there. We want to get out of there. We want to kind of, you know, we're all panicked, you know, some panic attack, right? I got to get out of here, right? Heightened anxiety. I gotta run. I got to do. Your inside's just in turmoil. Well, what do we do in that state? I remember once when I felt that way. I was so panicked. I left the building. I hardly knew where I was at. I knew I had to cross a street, a busy street, and I remember seeing, but I felt like I was walking 3 feet off the ground. Now that was a heightened anxiety. But what do you do when fear grips us? And see, a lot of these things that we're going to be working on, these emotions, they're there, been there a long time, and they're real. And they cause this state in us. And we want to be able to pull out of that, where we can get the prefrontal cortex online and start thinking differently. And so one good way is to get grounded, because what this groundedness will teach us that we don't have to be afraid of our emotions. It's just an emotion. Remember last time I talked about riding the wave? Well, groundedness will kind of help you get ready to ride the wave. Groundedness is saying to that, hey, I'm in control. You're not in control. This is just faulty wiring. It's just a false alarm. I'm going to get grounded, and I'm going to work on this. So what are some things? Well, one is what I call triple three. And I'm just doing this to remember, but mainly what that says is look for three things. You know, if you're in a room and you're starting to feel, well, look for deliberately at three things. Here I can see a clock, I can see a table, I can see a chair. You know, I can see the back of the room, so, you know, see three things. Another one might be to feel three things. So if I'm sitting here panicked, I can feel the smoothness of the table in front of me. I can feel the computer and the edge here. I can feel this cup. You know, so I mean, you know, just it's to being deliberate and doing something other than being panicked, right? And so I'm getting my senses involved. And it's causing then the anxiety to stop. The brain can't do too many things at once like that, right? So if it's in an anxious state and yet I'm deliberately focusing on something that's benign, it's going to help bring down that anxiety. Another one is I call 4x4. You can stop and look for 4 things that are brown. Now that's a little bit more using your brain, right? Or 4 things that are red. You know, you can hear 3 things, 4 things. You can look for 4 things that are green. So 4 things, and look at different colors. You know, if black would be easy in this room because I see black chairs everywhere. Brown would be a little easy, red would be harder, but it's mainly the shifting focus is what we're doing here, okay? One that we've seen on TV in movies where a person's just, you know, they've been in shock, they're in shock, they've seen something horrible, they've done something horrible, whatever, they're in shock, and you've seen the scene, they're in front of a mirror, right, in the bathroom, and what do? They take water and splash it on their face. Well, that's actually a good grounding technique sometimes. And if you're really, really upset, you might want to just go to the bathroom and splash a little water on your face where you can, you know, just kind of wake up to the situation that I'm here now. And this will work great along with what we're going to learn here in a few minutes about breathing and about relaxation. But this is the way to start. You know, I kind of mentioned this. I call this stay in touch. Here again, touching something, you know, find some things there you can touch. You know, focus on, is it cool or hot? Is it sharp? Is it rounded? Is it textured? You know, so focusing on that would be good. Another one I like, and one that I think I use a lot, is stand up to it. And what that means is that if I'm starting to feel like it, you know, just stand firm. Feel the ground under you. And one way to do that is to shift your weight to one foot and then shift it to another, you know. And so you're feeling, if you're sitting down, you can do a similar thing. You can shift to feel the weight into the seat here, right? And you can shift to one side to another. But basically, you're sitting here and you're trying to feel the difference of the weight, okay? So that standing up and shifting your weight is another good way to just ground. The final one is move. Try 60 seconds of moving, right? It can be, you know, kind of running in place. It can be, you know, if you got some other kind of exercise you want to do, maybe just pump your arms, but do something, you know, circles, you know, something. But 60 seconds, that just kind of brings you back, gets you here. Almost any kind of movement will work just to bring you back where you can kind of settle down, okay? And that can create a safety zone. And from that safety zone, we can then, you know, start to breathe. Carry on that safety zone, elongate it by breathing. So let's look at some of the breathing exercises. Now, we're going through this in a class, and we're kind of doing it in a hurry here, right? I don't expect you to be able to do all this and remember all this in one session. What I do expect and hope that you'll do is that you'll take this home and start practicing them. Pick the ones that you like, the ones that work for you, and create a new repertoire. You already have a repertoire of anxiety. When you think about it, there's a lot of different ways you get anxious. And you already have a repertoire that we'll talk about in relaxation later on, of false soothers, things that you think bring you down, but they're really negative. They're really not helping the situation. We want to replace those. We want to replace them. And one of the best ways to replace is through breathing, okay? Now, I don't have to tell you how to breathe. I mean, you know how to breathe. You're breathing all the time. But the kind of relaxation breathing is more deliberate. It's more deliberate. Self-calming, which is important to emotional regulation, is a more deliberate kind of breathing. The fact that, you're here in class with me, you're reading this exercise, you're watching on video or YouTube, tells me that you're breathing. You're breathing. But we're talking about more than just normal breathing. Chances are the way you're breathing is real shallow from the upper chest. And I find that many of those that have been in trauma, that have had trauma and are in this hypervigilance state, that a lot of us, are breathing, 10, 20 times a minute. We're looking at more like 5 times a minute. We want to do, 5 times a minute, 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out. We want to do it for, what I count to 5, you might say. And, breathing in this case is more than just an intake of oxygen and a depletion of carbon dioxide. What we're trying to do here is put the brakes. We're putting the brakes, and we're opening up our parasympathetic situation here, right? And we're calming down. We're calming down. And so if you want to look at page 3, the middle of page 3, we know that the optimal breathing is about 6 seconds in and 6 seconds out. Inhale 6 seconds, exhale 6 seconds. That averages out to about a count to 5. And so that's 5 breaths a minute. However, like I said, many of us are anywhere from 10 to 20 times a minute. Now, we'd normally think that's okay because we're getting the oxygen, so we think, right? However, that breathing that fast and that shallow really is a sign of danger. That's what we do when we're in danger. And so whether or not we feel that we're in danger, we fake out our sympathetic nervous system. And so it acts like we're being attacked, and it creates a fight-flight system that that in turn quickens our heartbeat, raises our blood pressure, boosts our energy production, flexes our skeletal muscles, slows down digestion, and pumps cortisol and epinephrine throughout our body. And that emergency mode puts all the blood into the major muscle systems, slows down blood flow to the other muscles, so we get sore because those nerve endings aren't getting the oxygen that they need, so we get these pain signals. And, it affects a lot in us. It's called hypervigilance, and I was this way for much of my life. Irritable bowel syndrome came in, because the digestion was all mixed up. You got all kinds of psychosomatic illnesses, including high blood pressure, headaches, TMJ, muscle tension, fibromyalgia, irritable bowel syndrome, blood pressure, headaches, chronic pain. A lot of it is caused by this. The mental chatter that we go on, sleep disturbances. So, really, this shallow breathing isn't good for us. Instead, now we can't necessarily go around all the time and just keeping this relaxing breathing, but we can sure increase the amount of time we do it. We can certainly be conscious that I'm not in a very relaxed and be deliberate in learning to relax. So let's look at some of these exercises where we can get to them. And pick some that you like where you can start practicing them. Well, let's talk about relaxing breath. Now, in a relaxing breath, we want to, become aware, and we want to do anything from, a 3 to a 5 count. You can start wherever you want in there. And here's the ingredients, okay, of a good breath. 1, you want to get in a good position using good posture. You want to relax. You want to close your eyes. Now, you don't have to, but it's better if you close your eyes. All right? In this case, I want you to put your hands on your stomach when we're first learning this. Your hands on your stomach, and your fingers kind of in here, sort of like interlocked, because what we want to do is breathe from the belly. We want to be a belly breather, okay? If you watch an infant in their relaxed state, they're always breathing from the belly. And so as we inhale, our fingers should expand. As we exhale, if they're following the contour of our stomach, they should come back. So it's, okay, now that was a short breath. That wasn't a 5 count, but you want to kind of feel that, okay, because it takes some practice. And you want to, in the beginning, breathe through the nostrils for a 5 count. Blew out through your lips, a little pursed kind of together, but not a, but more of a, you want to feel the air coming across your lips, and then feel your fingers move. So let's try that, okay? I'm going to go ahead and sit down here. Now, so you're kind of relaxed. You're sitting, normally you'd have your hands on your legs like this if you want. If you're going to do it, you could have palms up, but this time I said, let's do this with the fingers interlocked. So we can close our eyes, and when I say go, you breathe. And what you want to do is inhale till the count of 5. You don't want to go and then count to 5. You want to make that breath intake happen all during the 5 count. At the 5 count, you stop. And then you want to exhale, and not just, you want to take the whole 5 count to exhale, all of it. So by the time you get to that 5 count, in an exhale, you're all depleted of your air, okay? And so it takes a little practice, but you can do this. So put your hands here, ready, and let's breathe. Exhale. Fine, there you go. Let's try it again. Ready? Inhale. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Now, you don't have to necessarily count. You'll get used to how long it is. But let's try it one more time. This time, put your hands in front of you. You don't need, but because you can see that you're breathing from the belly now. And I'm going to count it out, just where you get a sense of it. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, let's try that again now. Okay, ready? Inhale. I won't count this time. Ready? Inhale. Exhale. Okay, let me ask you, how'd your body feel? Were you all tense and nervous that you're going to do the counting right, and so you're all up in here? Wasn't very relaxing, was it? Here again, there's not, if you don't get 5, that's fine. If you do 6, that's fine. The point is you want, now, some of you may only be able to do 3 right now, but kind of think relaxing, right? Let's try it one more time. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now that's your basic breathing. That's your basic breathing there. So let's move on, because what I'm going to say in the next one, exercise 2, is I call it 4 times 5 times 4. And basically that's doing that breathing 4 times on a 5 count, 4 times a day. Because this needs to become something that you learn. Your body needs to learn it. Right? Where it's like learning a golf swing, right? That's different than a baseball swing. You've been breathing shallow for a long time. This is something else. This is getting used. It's a similar motion, but it takes practice. Now, here again, you're going to do it 4 times. It's only 45 seconds. when you think about it. 45 to 50 seconds. So you have a minute. You have a minute and 4 times a day, right? How about when you get up, when you have your morning break, when you have lunch, and when you have your afternoon break? There's 4 times. There's different times you could do it. How about, you could do it anytime you want. Like if you feel that it's better to do it instead of when you get up, do it on your way to work, do it, on your way to lunch, do it on your way home, and then do it, at night before you go to bed. But pick 4 times that you think are good and do this for a couple weeks. You're only talking a minute each time you do it. But no one can do it for you. You can't ask someone else, hey, can you relax for me? Do you mind practicing the breathing for me? That won't work. You need to do it. And why is because you want to have that as your repertoire. So when you're out there, you can breathe, right? You can do it. And so we want to talk about that. Let's go on to page 5 here, okay? Let's spice it up a little bit here. Because, see, the nice thing coming from this breathing now is that we can do other things. For example, we can really change some of our thinking. We can be more productive, right, on that. You can make the inhale and then exhale. And as you inhale, you can make a statement to yourself to meditate. And then on the exhale, you push it into your body. You push it into your body. For example, I am lovable, okay? So on the inhale, you're thinking, I am lovable. Now, it's hard to breathe and speak, so you can think it, I'm lovable. And on the exhale, you relax and you think of that, you think that I'm lovable. You go ahead and push it into your body. See, the trouble is you can say I'm lovable, but if your body doesn't believe it, it's going to resist, right? And what you want to do is sense that resist. Now, a lot of people have us do it on the exhale, and I get that. And if you want to do both on the inhale and exhale, that's fine. But what I find is that if the body doesn't believe it, it's not going to be true. And so I like to think, for example, I'm at peace. I say it. What better way to be at peace than to think that and then be at peace? You see what I'm saying? So you think it, I'm at peace, and you affirm it on the exhale by making your body be at peace. And so you're really locking it into your body. It becomes a felt belief, okay? We're so used to doing things only in our cognitive process, we want to do it with our body as well. So you can do that. So you can do positive affirmations like I am lovable. I'm significant, right? You can, if you have some that you need to work on, I'm significant. And on the exhale, you can smile and you're thinking about what's that feel like to feel significant, and you're breathing it into your body. Your posture accepts it, right? So it becomes that holistic thought. It's an experiential thought. And that breathing is what locks it in. You can't be up here, I'm significant. Well, it won't work, okay? And so the other way, you can have positive affirmations. You can have a powerful thought about God. God is almighty. God is love. God's grace. God's mercy. And so you can meditate on God and let your body, what's that feel like? You say it, then feel it, okay, on the exhale. And then, of course, you can do some different states of mind, like be still. You see, I'm being still. Be at peace, right? Return to joy, and that one might put a smile on your face. Okay? Be strong. As you exhale, you're taking on a strong stance, right? And so you could even shorten them to just joy. Peace, right? And so you're thinking it on the inhale. You might want to say it on the exhale as long as you're putting it into your body and your body is sensing it. That's the point, okay? That's the point. Now, there's that return to peace, and so you go ahead and you sit up straight, right? And you breathe it in and you say return to peace, and then you breathe it in. You breathe it in. And so, you can practice some of those, and I would take some of those you like and practice that. And that might be what you want to do 4 times a day. So what we're trying to do is help you become your own detective. So when you sense that you're out of whack, because once your body starts learning what it's like to be peaceful, what it's like to be joyful, what it's like to be, strong, courageous, now you know when you're not there. And you know how to return to it. See, this returning to joy and peace and love isn't just a mental statement. It's a holistic body experience. And, I really believe if your body believes it, your mind will follow. So we're using the mind to start it, the body to really cement it in. I hope that makes sense. Practice it, and you'll see what I mean, okay? Now, I'm going to do a video on this, and you can ask me for it. I'll have the actual exercises, so it just be a background scene, so you can use it for an audio. And you can take it with you and learn these things and practice. So you might want to write me, Ron, at empowerministry.com, and ask me for the breathing exercises, okay? Let's talk about another one on page 6. This is one of my favorite ones. It's a funny one, but it really, really helps when we're in a state that we need to be relaxed in, okay? And that's what what I call the vibrating breath. And what it's basically doing is this. It's sort of like making a foghorn, right? It's you're feeling it in your lips, and you're making this voo. It can be like a voo if you want, but it's this voo. I happened to fall on this by accident. I was, hyper-vigilant all my life. When I was like around 12 years old, I had to sing a solo at a choir event. And I remember I was real nervous. I had to go to the bathroom, right? A familiar place for me. And it was the little boy's bathroom, and they had the stall, the metal stall. And I remember I thought, well, gee, while I'm here, I might as well pray, la, 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 or something like that. And I remember when I hit this low note, la, all of a sudden, it was kind of vibrating. It was vibrating off the kind of the walls there, this, oh, and I remembered how good it felt. And how relaxed I felt. And all of a sudden I was okay, and I was able to get out there and sing. I didn't really make a mental note of that. I remembered how good it felt, but it wasn't until decades later, and I'm studying, and you've got one of the trauma experts, Dr. Peter Levine, and he talks about this method, and he claims by stimulating the gut and reopening the communication with the rest of the body, specifically our brain, this self-regulates, right? It re-regulates and reorganizes the whole physiology and nervous system. So this is a good one sometimes just to reset. It's a good reset. And in our intestines, where we have a lot of these similar cells to our brain cells, it really works in there, and it causes a communication with the brain. And so it's really, really a good one. Another one is a deeper relaxing breath, okay? And how this works is by causing us to relax longer, exhaling longer than inhale. Try this as an experiment, okay? You ever been on a roller coaster? You know how you put your hands up, and you go, oh, Well, let's try that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go, and then we go, relax, okay? So let's try that. Ready? Go. Do it again. You notice the startle is quick, but the coming back is slower. And that's what we want to do. If we're really going to relax, then one good way to do it is to take the breath in for a 5 count, but then let it out on a 10 count. Now, if that's too long, do a 4 and an 8 or a 3 and a 6. But let's try it, okay? Breathe in. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now that probably caught you a little off guard, and you may have run out of breath before we got there. Let's try it again. Let's do a 4 and 8, okay, and then build up to 5 and 10. Let's do a 4 and 8. Ready? Breathe in. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now do it this time without counting, and feel how more relaxed you feel as you elongate that exhale. Ready? Breathe in. Breathe out. Very good, very good. So that's a good one, okay? So now another one that Dr. Levine had, I thought was really excellent, is breathing with your diaphragm in your heart. And so what he wants us to do here is to awaken this relaxation in our body. And so he says, put your left hand on your diaphragm and your right hand on your heart. And so you can do this by breathing, okay? Put it on your diaphragm, and you want to communicate. The brain cells in the gut, there's some around the heart, and you're going to communicate. It feels warm, it feels good, but breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now another variation of this is you can put your hand on your head and your heart and breathe in and breathe out. But getting the body involved by touching those areas can really help. Now these are a lot of exercises, I understand this. And I don't expect you to necessarily do them all in one night, but pick some here that you think are good. But mainly, for sure, get the breathing down. But you might really enjoy, the stomach and the heart one here, okay? And so you can try that. Now, let's look now at relaxing. We've done grounding. We're talking about breathing. And so the whole goal here is to get us away from this anxious state to where we can relax. And we want to learn to relax in the midst of stress. I mean, stress is all around us. We have stress all the time. Financial pressures, pressure at work or school, relationships, they all have an effect on us. Now, breathing and relaxing alone won't help it. I mean, if you've got financial issues, then let's do something about it, right? If you have relational issues, let's get some counseling. Let's get some financial planning. If there's some struggles at work, let's work on that. I mean, let's work on our problems, right? This isn't an excuse not to work on the problems. Let's get some help. But while we're doing that, let's start learning to relax, okay? So Dr. Francis Shapiro writes this in Getting Past Your Past. Since we all have unprocessed memories that get triggered, we have all felt anxious, fearful, sad, angry, or insecure at different times without really knowing why. It's important to have a way to get rid of the disturbance as it arises, and that's what we've been doing, right? Everything from grounding to breathing, now relaxing. It gives us the balance we need to keep one foot in the present as we explore the past, because as we go to emotionally relearn, we're going to talk about some of those things that happened, right? And as we get in touch with some of them, we want to be able to know that we're in control. We're being an observer. We can control. We can use these techniques at any time. And that's what she says. She says, although we've all felt those negative feelings before, we can investigate most easily if we're not afraid of the emotions. The best way to accomplish that is to know we can rid of them when we choose. And that's good. We have a choice today. We can choose to stop being anxious. We can stop the elevated anxiety. We can stop the panic attacks, right? And so these are self-control techniques if you want, okay? So let's look at some of these ones. Let's talk about it first, quieting and calming ourselves, okay? Let's take the self-assessment on 8. Read these statements and check off the ones that might be true for you. It's in the middle of the page. I have constant thinking that doesn't seem to stop. That inner chatter going all the time. Negative inner chatter. How about this? It seems like I'm sitting at a stoplight with one foot on the brake and the other one on the gas. And that's what I used to feel like, this hum all the time. Like, ooh, a high rev and not going anywhere. And that's that hypervigilance. How about my inner critic constantly berates me? You know, do we have these negative thoughts all the time about ourselves? Or I'm anxious most of the time. I'm anxious most of the time. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if we have some of these because we're taking a course on anxiety, and there's no shame in that. I mean, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad we're learning these things. But we need to be conscious of this, because what happens, look at the next section, a lot of times we soothe ourselves, we cope, but with the wrong methods. Look at some of these false soothers. You know, you get home and right away you turn the TV on. Now, you turn the TV on and what? You just veg out. A couch potato. Sometimes, though, there's things on TV that stimulate us sexually or other things, and now we're getting into an area of almost an addiction, perhaps. Or maybe it's violence, you know, or whatever. We're just escaping. We're rushing into the next activity. We never slow down. We're a workaholic. We're doing, you know, we bring our work home, or we have another thing we volunteered for. We eat the junk food because why? That sugar gets us going. We grab a drink or a smoke. We talk about negative. We get angry. We talk about, we can't wait to start saying how bad work was and how my life really is horrible. And we do this downward spiral. Or we have some kind of addictive habit. Or we found, you know, here again, anger sometimes just kind of gets us out of it. So we're all upset and we're calling our friends and talking about it. All these are ways to escape. All these are ways to numb out or veg out and not take care of what the situation is, nor is it learning to relax. It's not really relaxing. Worrying is not relaxing. Keeping busy is not relaxing. Now, here's some positive ways on the bottom of 8 and top of 9. You know, taking a walk or exercising, taking a bath or a shower. Doing the breathing exercises, visualizing a quiet place, and we'll talk about that in a minute, relaxing your body, meditating and praying, having a little quiet time, spending time with pets or plants, you know, taking a walk with a loved one, right? You know, maybe playing a game with them, you know, throwing a ball back and forth, listening to relaxing music. All this can be positive ways to kind of de-stress when you get home and kind of get you ready to be more relaxed. So we want to do different kinds of relaxing. And what I've done here, a lot of times it helps you. Have you ever been to the mall and you need to get to a certain store? And you look at the map, oh, there's the store. Fine. But how do you get there? I mean, you really need to know where you're at. And some genius came up with that little dot that says you are here. It was brilliant, because if you know where you are, you know where you can get to, right? And so what I've done is, before each of these exercises, is ask yourself, where am I on this continuum from being very anxious to being relaxed? Because we want to see these things work. We want to see that they're working. And so you can indicate before and after if you so choose, okay? And again, this relaxation is similar to our breathing. If you can sit down with your shoulders back, sitting upright, feet planted on the floor. If you have back issues, you need to lay down, fine. But, maybe, have your knees bent a little bit where you don't fall asleep. You're not trying to fall asleep. We're trying to relax. And if you can, let's keep our eyes shut, where we can do this relaxation, okay? So what we want to do here is, the first one is relaxing our body parts, okay? And there's two different ways that we can do this. We've already done a body scan before, but the way that we can do this now are two different ways. And let me just go over them. One is to tighten and release. The other is to fill up with liquid. And you can read this, but I'm just going to explain it now. Tighten and release is a good way to relax because it's a contrasting. And so you sit up, shoulders back, your hands are maybe here, and then you relax. And you can start with your toes. You clench your toes a little bit, maybe to a 5 count, and then you let them relax. Now, you know your body. If you have bad parts, that are hurting, and don't hurt yourself here. If you need to talk to your doctor, if you got a bad neck and I'm telling you shrug your shoulders, you need to know what you can do. But for example, here, you can tighten the muscles here, right? And then let them go. And likewise, up here in the thighs, the calves and the thighs, tighten them for about 5 count. Then let them go. And you're not letting them go, and you want to feel the relaxing. You want to push the relaxation in there. And same thing with the, stomach. Tighten the stomach, and then let it go. Meanwhile, you're breathing. You're not just holding your breath up here, You're taking your breathing. You're breathing in, tightening. And on the exhale, let it go. And that might be the better way. Inhale, exhale. So on the exhale, you tighten, and then relax it. Same thing, you can do it with your arms, tighten them. Relax them, clenching your fists. Shrugging your shoulders a little bit. And here, you know yourself, so, don't hurt yourself, and then relax it. What you want to feel is the contrast. Even in the face, scrunching the face. Now, I'm sure that really looked cute on camera there, but you get what I'm saying, kind of scrunch that face up and relax. Now, what you'll be able to do is, after you practice that a while, you'll be able to just kind of go tight and relax the whole body. And pretty soon, what that would turn into is, forget the tightening, just relaxing the body. You want to be able to get to where you just, on a second's notice, you take a breathe in and relax the body. That's where I'm at, right? Because I've practiced these things. You might be able to get there too. But one way to see if you're there is to practice the tighten and let go. Now, another one that's kind of an interesting one is kind of a combination of visualization in that, and that is to fill yourself filling up with liquid. And what you want to do is, the liquid can escape out of your fingers and out of your toes. And so what you want to do is hold those kind of tight. Now, you can't take a half an hour to fill up with liquid here, okay? You can't stay tight. We want to do this in, 10 seconds or so. So you fill this, and I like to think of like a heavy mercury, right, kind of substance, non-poisonous, right? A heavy kind of substance, like sludge. It's just filling up in my body. And I feel the weight of it, and it's pushing on my toes. And as it gets up in here, it starts to come. Now it's overflowing into my shoulders, down into my hands, and I feel the weight of it in my legs and in my hands, and I'm feeling it filling up more and more. Now it's up to my neck, and it's getting up to my head. Now it's pressure on the top, and as soon as I feel it up there, I'm breathing in, and on the breath out, I open my fingers and open my toes and just... And I just let all that out, and I just fill that body like a balloon that you're letting the air out of. And relaxed, relaxed. And once you're there, you can just sense that and just keep breathing. And with each breath, relax a little more. Take another one out of the belly. Relax a little more. And you just relax. And relax. And so, when we combine the breathing that we did before, even if it's that, when you're done, take another breath, and then relax, and you can picture that liquid leaving your body. We're combining them now, you see. We're combining them. And that's what we want to do. This works together. And so either one of those, that tightening and release, that letting go of the liquid, that's one of my favorite. Or the air out of the balloon is really a neat. The air out of the balloon, okay? And so you want to get it to relax. Now, another way to relax, and we'll finish with these, is to use visualization with it. And one of the common things that people use is, and especially when we're working on some of this stuff, we get anxious, is to think of a quiet place. And so on page 11, I have some, and again, Frances Shapiro talks about this. She says, a safe or calm place in adaptive information processing terms. What we're doing is increasing your access to positive memory networks. These are networks that have within them the pleasurable experiences you've had in life. So we're accessing pleasurable memories. For instance, the kind of experiences where you felt calm and relaxed. That way, if you feel disturbed at any time and want to stop, there's immediate access to positive emotions. If we're anxious with people or in an anxious situation, having this one that we're going to do here of affirmation, a positive experience before, we'll turn on those relational circuits. Thinking of positive time when we had a safe place will cause us to relax, right? And so we can shift our attention, and it's much like counting to 10 when you're angry, right? We're taking over, we're calming down, we're going to that safe place, if you will, okay? And so we want to really visualize it, really bring it in. We want to have a good experience of it, so it's in Technicolor, surround sound, and all that. So here again, you want to be in your chair, and you want to sit upright with a good posture. You want to close your eyes and relax, do that 5 count. And a lot of times what I recommend is that you breathe out first. Now breathe in. Because a lot of times what we do, I got to breathe in. And we go like that. And what's that do? Well, that's an alarm. That's a sympathetic nervous system. So you don't want to do like that, right? So sometimes it helps to just blow it out and then. And you do that 5 count, and then you think of a memory. Now you think of a place that you've been that's very peaceful, something you know, or you can even make it up. It could be a beach, a forest, a mountain, a park, a sanctuary, a room maybe with a fireplace, a quiet room, a garden. You know, somewhere you've been before, like I said, or something you make up, but you want to be there. So you want to go to that place. And so right now, take that breath and picture that scene. Now, if there's people there, just kind of erase them from the scene. This is your place, your safe place, your quiet place. And what I want you to do is you know, I want you to turn up the lights, right? I want you to be able to see it. Bring the light in, right? I want you to hear what the noises mean. Maybe it's the ocean. Maybe it's birds singing in a tree. Maybe it's the hum of an air conditioner in the background. Maybe it's the crackling of the fire. But you want to hear what you hear in that place. You want to smell what you smell in that place. It could be the sea, fresh sea breeze. It could be the pine scents of the pine trees. It could be the smell of your favorite room where you relax, right? And then you want to feel the air, the temperature. You want to feel the airflow. You want to be there. This is an embodied experience. And so you want to be in that scene and just relax. If you're sitting on the beach, you want to feel your impression you're making in the sand. And just look and relax. Spend 30 seconds there. Build it up to a minute. Breathe as you're doing it. Just be there. See if you can get yourself eventually to 5 minutes. But start off with seeing if you can get 15 seconds, then 30 seconds, then a minute. But take this one and practice this one, because you're going to want that. You're going to want to have sometimes that safe place, because that's where it's a total body experience, and it's good to have one. Now, Francis Shapiro is famous for what we call EMDR, which is a technique of using bilateral brain stimulation. And she has worked with this all around the world. She has thousands of people that do it. And they've worked with people, children especially, in emergency situations where there's been horrible trauma. And they've come in and teaching relaxing techniques. And one that they do is called the butterfly hug. And let me read to you on page 12, the bottom of 12. Another way to do the stimulation is called the butterfly hug. It was developed in Mexico to work with groups of children following a hurricane. It has since been used all over the world to help increase the positive feelings of a safe place. To do it, cross your arms in front of you with your right hand and your left shoulder. So you're like this. Okay, and they're on your shoulders. Now I have a microphone, so it's hard for me to do this. But what you want to do is have your hands on your shoulders, okay? And as you do that, you want to close your eyes, breathe, and think of that safe place, and then you want to tap it in. So you go 1, and you want to do it about, 6 to 12 times. Now, at first, it's going to be hard because you're going to want to count. And how can you visualize the safe place, breathe, and tap at the same time, right? That's like walking and chewing gum, right? Might not be easy. But don't worry whether you do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or if you do 7, 8, 9, 10, or if you do 11 or 12. The point is you don't want to keep doing it. But you don't want to make it too short. So don't worry so much about that. The main thing is you want to visualize, be in that safe place, that quiet place, be breathing, and then just help the brain to accept it, right, by doing that bilateral stimulation. So you're not even counting. And the speed is up to you, but just something nice and rhythmic. Now, you can also do it on your legs. You can also do it on your legs sitting there. But the main thing is that this is sort of like an REM sleep, an REM rapid eye movement. It's just a way of stimulating both sides of the brain where it can really kind of accept this piece, this scenery a little bit more. It's sort of like bringing it into your memory. And so it's helping you remember it more. So, you can try that. A lot of people like that. You can try that. The final one is a self-compassion. Self-compassion. And compassion with our others is something we do, but we need compassion for ourselves. And so we can do this one, and you can do this one if you want, again, with your hand on your stomach, other hand on your heart, because you can do that. So you're sitting there, and then what you can do now, you've been triggered, you feel anxious, and you're coming out of it now. So you're taking a deep breath. And you're saying to yourself, I am feeling triggered. Being triggered happens. As I wait, I will be understanding and loving to myself. This will pass. I will be kind and patient to myself at this moment. Now that's a lot. I get that. Again, try this. This is touching yourself in an appropriate way where it's a loving, compassionate, it's touching your heart and your gut. And listen to what you're saying. Look at page, the bottom of 13. First, there's awareness. I'm feeling triggered, okay? You're claiming what's going on. I'm being triggered. I'm feeling anxious. On page 14, the top, acceptance. I'm being triggered happens. Thoughts happen. Anxiety happens. It's not a big deal. It happens, right? You acknowledge that you're not alone. It's a common thing. And then you have compassion. As I wait, riding the wave, right? As I wait, I will be understanding and loved. Why? Because a lot of times, I'm being anxious again. See this self-condemnation, this judgment. We don't want judgment. As I wait, I will be understanding and loving to myself. That's compassion. And then we take this non-judgmental, positive action. What is it? This too will pass. This too will pass. I will be kind and patient with myself at this moment. And so get the gist of what it's saying. Learn to memorize this, and you can work with it, okay? And then finally, the presence of God. I mean, what a way to become in the presence of God. Learning to relax, sitting down, palms up. Oh, Lord, I come just into your presence. Make me conscious of your presence. I want to sense your peace right now, right? I want to sense your peace. And a lot of times with this hands open, I'm just sitting there enjoying the presence of God. Relaxed. From there, you can pray. You can look at different scriptures. There's all kinds of scriptures here. Give your worries and cares to God, for he cares you. My help comes from the Lord. Read some of these scriptures to know that God is there with you. God is there. He cares. He'll help you. And so we take all this together. We ground ourselves. We're breathing. We're relaxing. We're being kind and compassionate to ourselves. And we're coming to the presence of God with palms open wide. Lord, I receive your peace. I receive your joy. I receive your presence. Help me with my anxiety. And so let's pray that. Father, I pray that you would help each one of us as we learn now to breathe and to relax, to be grounded, to practice your presence, that we'll see, Lord, as we learn these things, that this anxiety that comes will only be for fleeting moments, and that we won't be prisoner. Lord, we have choices today. Thank you, Father. Help us to relax. Help us to be at peace. And we pray this in the name of Jesus. Amen. Now remember, this is only as good as you practice it. You need to practice this. No one can do it for you, okay? It works if you work it, all right? God bless you, and we'll see you next time.